Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And though we enjoyed our guest last week of Tony Sounds Good, back with us all the way on the other side of the world in China, joining us again is Ron.
What's happening?
Man,
700 miles away.
How many miles away?
7,500.
7,500 miles away, all the way in China. And you know what's crazy? You sound a lot better than Tony did last week. Wait a minute. Oh, I don't have my ching loaded up right now. Tony is our resident professional audio engineer, and we rushed to get him on the pod, and he realized afterwards why he was sounding funky. His mic was backwards.
Because he doesn't have like a mic. He doesn't have like a mic like we have. He's using like a band mic that he uses, right? And he had his in-ears in. So he himself sounded great in his in-ears, we think, but so it was not all like Tony's fault. We rushed him. We told him, go get the mic, try to set up. We were all trying to do it very fast. So
Tony, we know this is why you're supposed to have sound check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's used to a sound check. That's right. That's correct.
Yeah. But for real, it was really awesome.
Absolutely.
Joining us, and we will have you back on when you perform your song, and you sound better because you've turned your microphone around
at the end of the season.
Yeah.
You got to love it.
Yeah. But we got Ron back, and we've got Ron back for a very special episode.
And Ron, and might I say, for those at home that can't see the FaceTime that we're looking at, Ron looks exceptionally good in browns, army greens,
got the knit hat,
dark tans. Yeah, he looks like an extra out of a Bourne movie right now. Looking great.
Yeah, like the helicopter's about to land in, and he's like chopping wood out back, and he's like, "You can't bring me back in." They're like, "We've got one more mission."
Yeah,
yeah.
Then a jolt off of a rooftop onto a plane or a helicopter footbar or whatever those things are called.
I can neither confirm nor deny the reasoning that I'm here.
You better be saying that because you're in China and they hear everything.
In my list of fun things that Ferris says more complicated than they actually are, calling the rails on the helicopter foot rail.
Yeah, what I don't
is
landing rail. It came at me quick. I didn't quite know what those things are called.
That's one of my favorites. I'm not. One of my New Year's resolutions is to not let those slide anymore because they're just too good. That should be the t-shirts we have. Just a Brewtiful Game logo on the back, stuff like helicopter foot rails.
Yep.
Great quotes.
Great quotes from the pod.
Exactly. Come for the footy and beer, but really stay for the great quotes of the pod.
Yeah.
But tonight's episode is a very special one, guys. It's almost like a special, like after school special. Like it's, oh my gosh, this doesn't happen very often. We want to go back to the Wayback Machine and figure out like when it actually occurred. But all three of our teams actually won in the same week. And I think it's been a while. So up first, we'll talk about Arsenal's 6-goal hammering of the West Ham, which sent the Hammer supporters exiting at halftime. Next up, it's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's super Scottish sub Scotty McTominay. That's wonderful. As he once again snatches all 3 points late for Man United, this time over Aston Villa at Villa Park. Then to complete our Brewtiful Game hat trick, there won't be any of Ron's catastrophic Chelsea corner this time. As not only is Ron back on the pod with us all the way from China, but his Blues had themselves a week as they achieved 2 wins in a row, which saw them advance in the FA Cup and then beat a West London Derby club on the road. Then we're going to close out the Premier League talk, recapping the rest of the action in our 2-minute drills. Then we'll blow the halftime whistle as the great Wall of Keller and the perennial Pochettino lover of the Blues, Ron, shares with us some beer news to get our mind off of soccer for a bit. And finally, we'll close out the pod with a little LeaguA's roundup. Whoosh, dang it. I knew I forgot something.
Ron should have had to make that noise.
I had to analog it in last week.
All right, so I'm going back right now, and I'm only back to match week 13 in the Premier League. I still have not found a week where all three of our teams. Hold on, let me see. Nope, this one. Every time I get one of our teams lost or drew or something.
I don't know if it's happened this season.
I don't think it's happened this season.
I don't know, but I'm determined to go back, so we can continue on with the pod. If I find one, I will let you guys know if it happened this season.
But for our La Liga's roundup, Ferris is going to recap our big weekend in Germany and Spain, along with another devastating injury for U.S. men's national team player. And he's going to tell you who the champions of Africa are. But first, our beer. Speaking of champions, did you guys see the Super Bowl and see the Champions League commercial with everybody singing?
Yeah.
I was like, it's missing
That was
Ferris.
pretty good.
It was a pretty good commercial, but it was missing
The
you.
champions.
Yeah. That's all I could think of. I was like, man, we need.
The first time that I actually saw and understood the words to the entire song.
Fair enough, actually. Well, that's a good shout.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
It's like week 2.
Matchweek 8. Matchweek 8 of this season. United beat Brentford 2-1. I think courtesy of a Scott McTominay double there, if I'm not mistaken. Chelsea beat Burnley 4-1. Arsenal beat Man City 1-0 when Rodri was suspended. So match week 8 was the last time it happened in this time.
It's been a bit.
It has.
You know what? That's something to drink to. How you like that segue?
Love it.
Our beer. I'm stoked for this one because we are sitting under about a foot or so of snow. Although it was that lovely fluffy snow, it actually didn't kill you to shovel all that out as bad as it looked. Today ended up being a pretty nice day. So last night, in prep for it, I was like, I don't want to cook. We're stuck at home tomorrow. We'll cook. I'll pick up some pizza. And we have this lovely bottle shop next to our local pizza joint. And I went in, and a can art just caught my eye because it was kind of neat looking, very Celtic-y. And then discovered that there is a brewery that I did not realize is literally 12 minutes from my backyard. And yeah, there's some breweries that are close by, but what's cool about this one is literally you're driving through like the woods into an area called Burlington, Connecticut, like to get there. Like it's kind of a rural area. So it's neat that there's this brewery only open, I think just like Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, looking at their website, but it's called Evening Sky Brewing Company. They're in Burlington, Connecticut. Inspired by our love for the local community and a desire to make quality craft beer more accessible, we are slowly gaining recognition and strive to be one of the best independent beer makers in Connecticut. No matter what your favorite Evening Sky beer is, we're in the business of making the very best product to please your palate. Approachable. Each of our beers brings with its distinct, clean flavor. We're not overcomplicated, and that's on purpose. Quality, the ingredients we choose, the process we have in place will shine through with every pour. And you'll remember Evening Sky for our attention to detail, excellent service, friendly staff. I need to go check this out because it is not like a very big place, Evening Sky. Here's it is Green Lady Pale Ale that I'm doing. It's kind of got like this,
Ooh,
like it's almost
That's
like
cool.
like an adult Red Riding Hood, except she's like all in green, like a Celtic sort of like princess vibe.
Love it. This
is their Green Lady Pale Ale, a hauntingly crisp ale, tantalizingly balanced with floral and fruit notes, 5.8% ABV. Literally down the street.
That's cool can art. I like that.
Yeah, the can art's awesome. It's gonna be a cold weekend. Might be a good time to go take a little stroll out there. Ferris, you have a returning beer?
No, I don't. At least I don't think so. I have what do we find in Ferris's beer fridge again? But I loved the name of this one. Back when I did the beer fest in November, we did a big beer swap, and we did one with a brewery called Carib Brewery. And I didn't know a lot about this brewery, to be fair. But I'm having the Sunshine State Florida Lager, which I can't find a lot of on their site. But they are a big brewery for brands like Guinness, Foreign Extra Stout, Hurricane Reef, which is a very good IPA we have here, Blue Moon, Coors Light, Heineken Light, Smirnoff Ice. So they are a brewery for a lot of those types to help. They're about, you can head over to caribrewery.com. Is an industry leader and has dominated the regional market in the production of go-to beverages for locals and visitors. Carib Brewery brands are internationally recognized, and the Carib logo is known worldwide as a symbol of Carib's blue waters. The Caribbean's blue waters and year-round sunshine. The British get kudos for introducing beer to the Caribbean in the 1880s, as it was Sir Gerald Wright, then chairman of Alstone's Company Limited, now McIlhenny Alston's Limited, and a Royal Air Force veteran from World War I who established a new brewery and a glassworks factory as a life preserver to a traditional sugar and oil dependent economy. Caribbean Development Company Limited, CDC, was formed in 1947 and led by Sir Gerald to do just that. So pretty interesting how it kind of became a Caribbean style brewery for a lot of these beers. In terms of the Sunshine State lager that I have, Sunshine State Florida lager, excuse me. It is where does it say it here? 5.5% ABV, 22 on the old IBUs. And it is a bronze winner of the 2011 Great American Beer Fest. And it's Florida Beer Company. Florida Beer Company Florida is a tropical inspired craft lager. Florida lager uses only the finest ingredients, presenting a complex yet balanced, full, rich flavor. A perfect blend of two-roll and caramel malt with German traditional and northern brewer hops.
That's a pretty good what's in Ferris's beer fridge pull.
Right?
Yeah, right?
They made it sound like a Corona or something. That's a pretty good pull.
Thanks.
So I am back in Beijing and running around seeing what breweries survived the COVID scramble and which ones did not. My favorite brewery, Jing'e, which we've actually had on the pod before, they've been thriving, and now they're canning at every location, which is great, which means I can bring some beer home. But the pollution here has been in the 200s, 250s, and it reminded me that the Jing'e Brewing Company has a wickedly fun beer called the Airpocalypse. And whenever the AQI, or the air quality index, says that the pollution is 500 or higher, the rest of the beer in the current keg is free for Airpocalypse.
That's an odd way to get people to come on out, but I mean,
Right?
smart.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Bit odd.
So, because the pollution's been a bit high, I grabbed a can of the Airpocalypse. There you go. The can art is super cool. It's like a little bit of a cartoony, futuristic
it's like
version of what Beijing looks like.
Retro future, right? And they call that kind of like almost like Epcot, what the future was going to look like, but designed in the 70s and 80s kind of a thing.
Right. This building here is the Temple of Heaven, which is located in this city. And then this building right here is the Beijing TV, or the CCTV tower. But they call it the pants because it looks like someone's sitting.
Yeah.
You got to do another photo shoot, Ron, because you need to give us the other sides of the can. You had a good photo shoot. Yeah. You have to do those with those buildings on it. Hang those up as well.
Yeah, no problem. The pants building, this one, is right out my window to my left. The Temple of Heaven is a little further away. But Jing'e is a super cool brewery. They have 4 tap rooms throughout the city. Jing'e's mission statement is that we are obsessed with hunting down rare ingredients and unexpected flavors to brew our beers, ranging from twists on classic styles to curious experiments and inspiring collaborations. Our goal is to make beer that we're damn proud of, beer that pushes the envelope, celebrates its roots, and changes perceptions of Chinese brewing worldwide.
That's an awesome statement.
Powerful mission statement, right? So the Airpocalypse is 8.8% ABV. It is a double IPA. Our unfiltered tribute to the city we know and love, and to people who, whether it's a blue sky day or a no sky day, make it so great. A mix of specialty malts lends a rich mouthfeel that helps carry dank flavors of pine, resin, grapefruit, and peach, which closes out with a dry finish. It's a gold medal winner of the International Beer Cup, and it's the #1 rated Chinese beer on the old Untapped.
That's cool.
Awesome, man.
3 good beers. First time we had 3
Yeah.
different beers on the pod in 3 different geographical locations, and all our teams won. That's
Yes.
definitely a first.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, gents. Here we go.
I need a bottle opener for that one.
Ooh. Ooh. You're smacked in the face with the hops. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh man. Mine's going to be good. I can tell already. I'm really stoked. This brewery is itty. I just checked again. They're only open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. It's a small place. I can't wait to go check this out.
This smells great.
It's a good thing that it's
Look at
only
that dark
10:30
golden
in the
color.
morning here for me.
Oh, right, right.
Whoops.
Because I'm going to need time to recover before I go to work.
There you go.
Cheers to that. All right, gentlemen.
Cheers to that.
Slanja.
Slanja.
No,
This certainly, who needs coffee when you can have this in the morning? Holy
You said that's a double IPA? Yeah.
yeah. Whew. 8.8 on the ABV. They're right. There's a lot of pine in the beginning of this, which kinds of turns into that fruity vibe, but finishes nice and clean.
this
The hop profile is real nice.
this pale ale, it's not it's not an IPA. It's just a pale ale, but I would say it's a slightly hoppier pale ale, but super smooth. Like as it said on their website, their stuff is uncomplicated on purpose. I can't wait to go check out more of their stuff because this is the kind of beer you could pull up to the bar and just hang out for the next 3 hours, and just have quite a few. This is really good.
And that's similar to mine. Mine is just a classic lager, like a classic mix between a better tasting Budweiser and Bud Light. So that's probably where it gets its Florida lager, where it's lighter than like a Bud heavy lager, but it is. What's weird is I kind of got transported back to having like an old. Do you guys remember when before it was Michelob Ultra? It was just Michelob.
Yeah.
Oh, my grandfather in his beer fridge at his cottage had a couple different beers over time, but one of those he had was the original Michelob.
Yeah, not Michelob
And-
Light, like Michelob. Which
Michelob,
I don't
not
know.
Michelob Amber, not
Yeah.
Michelob Ultra, Michelob Light. Just play, and you can't. I don't know if they even sell that anymore, but that was just a classic, like pull up to like a Cheers bar type of lager. That this reminds me very much of that.
Awesome.
Oh, this
Good
is good.
beers, good wins.
Yeah, man. I wish I had my beer fridge in here because I would probably go into a couple of these during this pod.
I'm gonna go actually put my other one in the fridge because I'm definitely gonna have this one a little bit later on.
Well, on that note, Ron, do you have our wonderful ceremonial quote for Ray Hudson to get us kicked off?
Oh, do I? In celebration of the beautiful curved top shelf or top corner free kick delivered by Enzo Fernandez this week,
It was a
I have the following Ray Hudson quote. The curvaceousness of that free kick is better than Dolly Parton.
Excellent.
Who doesn't love a good Dolly quote on here?
That is a good one.
Well,
You're welcome.
I hope you guys are appreciating my backdrop over here. I didn't realize I've got my daughter's art easel up with that's our volcano exploding dinosaur mashup that
Nice.
we've been working on some art together. And it just occurred to me looking at the she has taken over my corner of this area that was to be my office. She now has her computer to the right and her art behind me.
and look at what I just sent you guys in text. That was like, I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Close up of me talking with Sam Gamgee from Lord of the Rings poking out from under the Arsenal sweatshirt. Yeah.
It
totally looks like he's just peeking.
It does.
Yeah,
I can't.
It does.
I can't not see it.
I caught it before you kind of unzipped it, so I screenshot.
Yeah, it's not even the bottom of his face. It's just like his nose up and his eyeball, and it's the shot where he's like he's got the file from Galadriel, guys, that holds a little light of the star in it from the Silmarils that had been placed in the sky in the First Age when you know what I'm talking about, right?
Was that in the 7th hour or the 15th hour?
No, buddy, that was in the book that takes place hundreds of thousands of years before those movies called the Silmarillion. You didn't read that? Come on, dude.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's what that's from. But he's like looking all stern and holding up that and his sword, getting ready to attack the spider, Shelob, and it's like a perfect, like it really does, like he's creeping out from my sweatshirt. I'm glad you sent that to me. I'm gonna absolutely put that onto the podcast website. Yeah. That's gonna go on. A little Sam Gamgee creeping out on us. Well, you know what wasn't who didn't have to creep out for a win was old Arsenal. Arsenal's 6-shooter was firing on all cylinders as they smoke show West Ham by a scoreline of 6-0. On his return to London Stadium, a very classy Declan Rice scored against his old club, but not only and a great goal too, but he chose not to celebrate. But that paled in comparison, as that was the 6th and final goal of the match. A brace from Saka, a goal from Trossard, and goals each from the center backs, Gabriel and Saliba. Saliba actually opened up the scoring, or more than enough, as 4 goals in 15 minutes just before half saw a flurry of West Ham supporters exiting the stadium, heading for the tube. Statement win for Arsenal is the question, / is this the end of the current regime as manager at West Ham?
I actually think it is a statement win for Arsenal. Yes, West Ham haven't been good. I mean, what was it last week? A 7th place Man United beat them 3-0. So they've been outscored 9-0 in the past two games. Not good. But I do think coming off of a
sloppy win against Liverpool.
A sloppy win. A bouncy December. This was a very big win. They've won all 4 in January, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. 6 goals is a lot when it comes to the Premier League, and West Ham, a pretty good team, or at least they have been up until these past few games. Away, it's not like it was at the Emirates. It was away to a North London club. That's a big win, and it definitely tells the Liverpool and Man City, hey boys, we are here to stay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the 3 can let off the gas. I think everyone's about had the F-ups they can have and not lose their space. You know what I mean? And because I think distance will just continue to happen if that occurs. Yeah, I mean, look, we beat Liverpool. I'm not knocking last week's win. Super stoked to win. It just had a couple. There's 2 weird goals. It was almost kind of better that Liverpool and Arsenal had weird goals against each other because it kind of canceled out in some weird way. But we still beat the folks who were sitting at top. So I'll take it. But yeah, this came out very definitive, swinging really hard. I mean, and now I think I had the stat pulled up somewhere, but this is Saka is now the youngest player to reach 50 goals for the Arsenal in 45 years.
That's a good. I mean, yeah, that's you're going up against a lot of young players that have come before him over the likes. That's not, that's a damn good, stat there. And another stat here is, my God, look at the FOTMob game on this and their players ratings for each side. This one was almost a better win than the Liverpool one, just because of how they did it. A lot of different kind of goals, but there was not one Arsenal starter that scored under a 7. They're all green. You go over to West Ham, their goalie rated 4.4 in the red. Right back Hufal 4.8 in the red. Souček 4.7 in the red. Emerson 4.9 in the red. I mean, it is all green on one side, not a single green on the other side. It was complete domination in this game.
Who's going to snag Jose first, Chelsea or West Ham?
So how long do we give Moyes?
That's what I mean, as you said, Ferris, a statement win. Love seeing it as a fan, but my takeaway was, whoa, oh man, Moyes is done. I mean, that was my immediate next thought. Like, I just...
It hasn't been a good run. I mean, they haven't won in their last at least 5. They've drawn 3 and then lost 2. It's not been good. It depends. I think if right now they're in 8th place, 36 points, 2 points off of going down to 10th. That's where Chelsea are. They're not in a relegation battle, but then again, I think they're completely out of a top 4, top 5 talk. It depends. If they start to roll off more losses the way that they have these past 2 games, not scoring a goal, getting blanked, and being outscored by a couple of goals, I think we won't get till the end of the month before he gets sacked.
I think my addendum would be when they drop into the bottom half because Chelsea and Brighton move up.
Yeah.
And we'll, like, I
think that would coincide with if they lose those more games, then that's exactly where they're going to go.
Last question. Who goes first, Moyes or Hodgson from Crystal Palace?
We'll get to Hodgson here in a second when we get to
right, but who do you think goes first?
Chelsea.
Is it weird because of his history there? I think Roy might be more danger. Sorry, the history that Hodgson has at Crystal Palace. He might stay.
I think Hodgson, because Palace are down there in 15th place, only 5 points off of the bottom 3. So they are in a relegation battle. That's 2 games. That's 6 points. They can easily be brought right into that. So I think Roy, if they start to lose a few more here, but they've at least won 2 and lost 3 in their past few. So those wins account, so I don't know, but I to answer your question, I think Roy.
Okay.
Super subs. Scotty McTominay once again comes up for Man United in such a big way as they beat Villa for the second time on the season at Villa Park by a scoreline of 2-1. Rasmus Højlund once again getting on the score sheet as he makes it 5 goals in the past 5 games, as United took the lead in the first half at Villa Park. And then in the second half, Villa came out hungry and rewarded with a Douglas Luiz goal in the 67th minute, which we'll talk about here in a second. But then in the 73rd minute, the super sub, the Scottish Messi, Scott McTominay, was subbed on, and in the 86th minute, absolutely netted yet another game winner for Manchester United as his thundering header snatched all 3 points for United as they moved to within 5 points of Villa, who are currently in 5th. In American terms, is Scotty the best 6th man in the Premier League? Yes, I think he is. There was a stat that I think the Athletic article put out. His game-winning goals this season have won United 12 points.
Holy cow!
Yeah, that's Everton were deducted 10. That's if we didn't have those 12 points, we'd be in 12th right now. I mean, it's a good sub. It's a good, Ten Hag came out and said he is a player that is ready to play at the start or come on for just a minute or 2. He's always ready. And that says a lot about the player as well, right? He could have been a Jadon Sancho and crying because he doesn't get playing time or he's not being picked or selected, but he is, anytime he comes on, especially in these type of games, he's a threat to the box. And I think Ten Hag saw that with what he was doing for the Scotland team during their qualifying for the Euros, where McTominay led the Euro qualifying in goals from just a big 6'4" lad coming into the box and just getting anything on it to score. So I do think he's probably, if not the best sub in the Premier League. He is up there, and he just breeds United through and through. And it was another good win for United, who make it 3 in a row, and they're second over a good Villa team who has beaten the likes of Arsenal there, Man City. They've beaten some good teams there at Villa Park.
I think the thing that's pretty impressive about McTominay is even when he gets subbed into a game that he does not score in, he tries to put the team on his back. He's one of those people who breathes so much energy and excitement and passion into kind of a flagging Man United at, the 50th minute, the 60th minute, the 70th minute, when things may not be going all their way, right? He comes in with such a tremendous amount of passion and energy that he really does pull that team up, even on the ones he's not, scoring game-winning goals on. And in some ways, I think that can be more valuable than the goals he scores.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are going to be shocked to hear this. Guess who's coming around to Dalot a little bit?
I thought about you.
I was going to ask you about that because
it's not that he played a wonderful ball in to assist this final goal. He made some great tackles in this game. And in fairness, he has in the past handful of games, a lot of which United have won. He's coming into form. I think he's coming into, Ten Hag seeing something in him. And maybe it's starting to come good. Maybe. I'm not going fully there yet. But he has caught my eye in the past few games. And as much as I've slagged him off, I have to give him credit for his defensive tackles and what he's done to recover and done on the defensive side of the ball, as much as he is a attacking threat at any back spot. I think he's better in that right back spot. But I don't know. That left back spot, but I don't know. I'm coming slowly.
There was some Dalot love that day, and all I could think about was, I wonder what Ferris feels about all of this.
Well, there you go.
Is he back on your fantasy team?
No, not. I think I even had a chance to pick him off the waiver in the league that you and I are in, Blake. And no, I was strong pass.
All right. All the way down in Beijing. Finally, after the last time on the pod, he was so angry. You were so angry, you actually went around in a circle. I don't know if you know this. Prior to the pod, it's like you were going to explode. And instead you hit that like white heat coal where they're like making a katana, and you kind of creepily evened out, which was, I don't know if it came from the pod, but was scarier to see. And then this happens. And so I love that this is your next episode.
And then don't forget his energy from China, his angriness from China bled into our subconscious, and we did Iran's catastrophic, whatever the hell I call it, corner. So what happened this week, Ron?
What, 3 goals to 1 victory week? I don't understand that for Chelsea as they advance the FA Cup and beat a Derby rival. They won twice this week. First up on Wednesday of last week in the 4th round replay of the FA Cup. Chelsea beats Aston Villa 3-1 to advance to the 5th round, which we did not think was coming. And an absolutely beautiful free kick by Enzo Fernandez capped off an awesome midweek win at the Bridge. Then on the road this past Monday night, an extra time second goal from Conor Gallagher ends up being the game winner. Enzo Fernandez again on the score sheet to make it 3-1 for good measure as Chelsea upend their West London rivals Crystal Palace for another defeat at Selhurst Park. The question here, I did not write. Are Chelsea now in the title race? Thank you, Ferris.
100% yes.
I mean, my question, if I'd written it, would have been different, which is Poch safe now? And I'll tell you,
Poch is safe.
Can they not sack him though? Right? Did an article come out where they can't sack him because it would breach financial fair play rules because of how much they've sacked people and how much he's being paid?
They'd be screwed because they would have to pay him a $10 million out or pound, whatever, out clause, and it would screw that up. Yeah. It would
screw up the amount of money they can claim in a loss.
Take this for what it's worth. But the odds checker was updated, and now at negative 175, Roy Hodgson is tops to go. Plus 800 is second is Mauricio Pochettino, followed by David Moyes, and then the fourth slot is no managers to leave at plus 1600. So I think it's kind of interesting. Nobody's really worried about anybody else. Seems like on the odds makers, Poch didn't really move much. I don't know, man. I think
Poch is not under. Poch from the club. Poch is not under pressure. It's all the perceived pressure from the media and other external sources.
So, can I give you my evil bent on it? I'm gonna guess, since I'm wearing the Lord of the Rings shirt, I'm gonna grab my ring and talk about my precious. I love it. You know why? Because it's kind of got a little taste of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I need that manager to suck for a little bit and then just win a couple of good ones that strings them out a little bit longer, that ensures they won't actually be fighting for a title race, but they can't quite fire him, and then it gets bad again. And then he does a little better, and they keep him on a little bit longer. Let's just string this Pochettino thing out as long as we possibly can. Yes, so that's the Arsenal supporter.
That's because misery loves company, and that's what Arsenal did for way too long. But really, look, at the end of the day, the stuff that I was screaming about 2 pods ago, seemingly in the past 2 games, we put up a better fight. We had a slightly better defense. We had some idea of an attacking strategy. Conor Gallagher gets his first 2 goals of the season. It didn't take a neuroscientist to tell you to get him up and involved in the action instead of letting him play more of a midfield-centric role. And in the Villa game and in the Crystal Palace game, we played for 90 minutes. We actually played competitive football for 90 minutes of both of those games. And we've only ever done that 3 other times this entire season. So, in these 2 games, we did good. Next week, that could all change and could completely be flat on our faces again. But we did good. And I'll take the win.
And in this Palace game, you guys did good on the score or on the stat sheet as well. 77% ball possession, 1.4 expected goals. That's almost double what the expected goals of Palace were. 14 shots. Yes, Palace had 13. 5 shots on target to Palace's 4, but 2 big chances opposed to 0 from Palace, and 90% accurate passes with 749. That compares to Palace's only 161 passes at a 66% accurate pass rating. So that, I think, it was absolutely key to this, that unlocked those goals there at the end and had Chelsea going on to win once again 2 times in the week, 3-1.
I think the Villa win, though, it
similar
feels bad.
stats on the Villa game.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think I think the Villa one's more impressive because with Crystal Palace, you can always make a little argument of like, hey, is Chelsea really doing better, or is Crystal Palace just like not doing well at all?
Right.
But Villa, I think having the same stats with Villa is a more telling situation to let you know, like, no, they're it's something seems to be coming together over there.
Yeah, and that was a pretty much Chelsea led the entire game against Villa, besides that very late goal by Villa. This opposite, though. Lerma scored in the 30th, scored first. All 3 of Chelsea's goals came in the second half, so they definitely came out with some fight and had to come from behind. And yeah, it was a good week for the Blues there, Ron.
And we still have 9 injuries at the moment.
It's just really screwing up the script for Jose to have come back for another time.
Yeah.
That's really
Wesley
messing that
Fofana,
up.
Reece James, Badiashile, Lavia, Sesta. Mark Cucurella, Gusto, Robert Sanchez, Thiago Silva, Ugachukwu. All
Who the hell's Ugachukwu?
What?
Who's the last guy you said?
Ugachukwu.
Who the hell is that?
He's a defender.
I don't think I ever heard of him.
Well, I was just shocked that it wasn't a winger.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Beats
Reece
me.
James covers that.
Yeah.
And man, poor Reece James, man. Plays for a game, hurt, out for months, comes back, plays a game, gets injured, out for months. Oof.
Well, we'll have one of those of our own to talk about a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
On the national level. Well, gents, should this move us into our 2-minute drill?
It shall.
All right. Erling Haaland returns from injury as his 2 goals in the second half see out Everton 2-0 and a lackluster day for Man City at the Etihad. With Haaland now back, is it a foregone conclusion that City end up winning another Premier League title? No one wants to answer that question.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I think that the odds are probably heavy in their favor, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion quite yet.
Still on the same line as you there, Ron.
They're still having an uncharacteristically inconsistent season. Yes. They start games slow. They do find ways to grind them out, but they've also lost 3 games that they should not have lost. They've drawn 4 games that they should not have drawn. So,
but no De Bruyne.
Now he's back.
No Haaland during some of those, and Rodri was suspended there for a bit. So, I don't know. I agree though. It's not a foregone for me either, but the odds are in their favor.
Yeah, with the odds shifted when Arsenal beat Liverpool, all it did was actually just up Man City's odds when it was said and done. It was really depressing to look at it. It didn't really change much. It hurt Liverpool a little bit, pulled up Arsenal a tad, and really just brought Man City up. Look, they have, to your point, Ron, if this year they feel beatable, it does feel like, any team they could show up to and just be off. We literally could say that about any team, obviously, but you haven't made them really say that about Man City in a while. Before they would do this thing where they'd be playing like a Bournemouth and oh my God, Bournemouth are up 2-1, 2-0, and then they'd win 4-2. It seems harder for them to do that, but we said earlier, pods ago, it was but what happens with now? As we say, they always kick up at the second half, and here De Bruyne's coming back, and So, it does annoyingly amongst all the punditry feel like it's a foregone conclusion, and it's kind of that they have their people back, so they just win it, right? Here's hoping not. I'd just love to see something different. I want to be Arsenal. I'd rather be Liverpool than be Man City again, even though they just won one not that long ago. But I'm so tired of it.
Did you set a timer for 2 minutes?
Yeah, I did. You good?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have no clue where we're at.
Oh, yeah, we're good. I took us over by 15 seconds.
Okay, I was like, I because I forgot.
Take it away, Ron.
I would like to honestly thank Tony Sounds Good for filling in for me last week, since I was on an airplane. But now I get to do something in this pod that he didn't get to do last week and say Liverpool were 3-1 winners on the weekend over Burnley.
Gosh, just look like champions.
Yeah, it was funny that he comes on when he couldn't talk about it. It's so great. Jota, Diaz, Nunez all score, get on the score sheet. No Salah, no problem, right? Salah who? Do they really need Salah anymore?
Well, and he just was on the pictures of him on the practice pitch today, or the training ground. So, he'll be back. It's
kind of like Kane, right? It's wonderful player. Any team wants them on their team, but then sometimes teams just tend to flow a little bit when those big focal players aren't there. Not saying that's the case here necessarily, but for the starting three to all get goals in this, and yes, it was just against Burnley, but it showing something. And Diaz is just a poacher in front of goal. Nunez is starting to come good, and he has a handful of assists and goals here in the past few games. So,
I mean, there's something to be said for the fact that when the star focal point is playing, the general mentality is to try and get him the ball or set him up. And so that mentality kind of becomes single focused, right? This is how we try and play. But when that person's not there, it's more free flowing and more open because there isn't that singular focal point everyone's trying to, feed the ball to.
And it applies to the defense who's been maybe prepping to face this guy, right? And then like that would happen. I feel like with Kane, like, oh, he's got an injury, and that following week, Son tears it up because everyone's like, it's like throwing off their game plan. So, real quick, I will also just add at this point, Burnley are now tied at 13 points with Sheffield United, and somehow to me that feels more disappointing than Sheffield United's abysmal season. It just feels really bad because they've been here and done a lot better. So.
Mm-hmm. Fulham score early and last as they beat Bournemouth 3-1 at Craven Cottage. Bournemouth, as of late, are they kind of back to the same old as they are winless now in their last 4 league games?
Lucky that wretched teams I just mentioned are in this Premier League. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, good win for Fulham at home. That takes them up to 12th, and you could probably say they're going to be safe. That's 10 points off of a relegation zone. You would assume so, right? They haven't hit that 30 goal mark, which is that coveted, kind of if you hit 30 goals, you're automatically going to stay up mark. But they're not far off.
40. Keep getting 40 points.
40. That's right.
That's 40 points. The magic number. Yeah.
I don't know where did I get 30 from. Anyways,
and it's points, not goals.
You know what? That thing on the bottom of helicopter
feet rails. I was just about to say that. Yes.
But no, good win for Fulham at home. A much needed win. Nunez gets 2 goals and lovely goals in that. So came up big from this. And Tim Ream, really, really good game in this. Stopped Dominic Solanke for the most part, who's been on fire. So well done, Fulham, in this game.
I think you're right. No one's got much else to say. I mean, Bournemouth just seem. Hey, here's the thing: get your crap together, or we'll be talking about you like we are Burnley and Sheffield next season. Like they should be sweating it. Somehow they feel like they could slide quicker than some of the clubs under them. Crystal Palace, they probably can come back, but they need to get on the ball. Luton Town lose. Man.
Sad.
Not to City, Arsenal, Liverpool. No, they lose to bottom of the table Sheffield United. 3-1 in front of the Kenilworth faithful, as Luton now sit only a point ahead of the relegation zone. Well, this is a ridiculous question, but any hope at all for Sheffield United right now? Yes, they've got a great hope of not being last, but being 19th when Everton lose another 10, 12 points, whatever happens from their financial fair play.
I don't know. Burnley could easily also plummet.
Yeah, it's such
last.
They're both on 13 points. That's what, almost 10 points. That's I'm sorry, that's 7 points to safety at the moment. So it's 2 games. Not impossible, but then they would also need the likes of Luton and Nottingham to continue to lose, which I don't know if they're going to. Luton is definitely in there and could, but remember, Everton's in there and they're fighting for their Premier League survival, which they've done in seasons past, but this season with that added 10-point deduction they have, and who knows, it could be more come the end of the season. I doubt it, but
Big one for, but big. This is big for Luton because I mean, obviously they've been on a pretty good run, and these are the games they can't afford to lose. It's almost like they let off the gas a little bit. Like we got this, which is all. That's always where these bottom table teams will just. That's where they'll catch you. I still think the way things are shaking out. I think Luton might be safe. I mean, that really does hinge on what happens with Everton. I feel like, Everton has the potential to go on a bit of a run, maybe, and get themselves safe if they don't get any more points deducted. But Luton Town's obviously still very much in a relegation battle. But a fun one to see. Boom.
Tottenham Hotspur leave it late again. As with the almost last kick of the game, Brenton Johnson nets a cross from the returning Hunmin Song as they pull out a 2-1 victory over Brighton and Hove. So Tottenham are just kind of still chilling out in that 4th spot. The question is, will they stay there? And I think yes.
I agree.
They haven't lost in their last 5. And as long as they keep getting points from all their matches, I think the only way they could be overtaken is Aston Villa, who's in an extremely poor run of form right now. I don't think United, Newcastle, or West Ham are really in a position to catch them. Those are 6th, 7th, and 8th in the table. Too many points, too many games behind. And those teams, United, Newcastle, and West Ham, as we've kind of mentioned already, are still too far inconsistent to really make a run for that, in my opinion.
Well, and here's the thing. We haven't talked a lot about this, but there's a lot of possibility that Champions League places could be 1 through 5 this season.
Right.
So they may not stay in the top 4, but they still make Champions League for somehow that they get bumped down to 5th. But I agree. I think that they have enough talent to stay there, have patched together wins, have had some of these late winners that right there they may falter. But with James Maddison back in the lineup and Son back, or Charlton on a good run of form, Werner on one side, Kulusevski on the other, with Van de Veer back, I think they'll be okay, and I think they'll stay in Champions League places. I'll say that.
Man, am I the only one that's got? I don't know. Like, I think if Man United could start clicking, I think they could catch up. I think Villa will always be in and out, like, of that situation. But Tottenham's had some. I mean, they're in a good form now, but they've been a little inconsistent here and there as well. I mean, I don't know. I think 4, 5, and 6 could shift around. Is my belief. I have a little more.
But the Tottenham schedule from now till the end of March is a relatively easy schedule for them versus Wolves, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Luton, and Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot of the big boys out of the way fairly early on already. I think there's still another North London derby to take place. But I want to say they're done with Liverpool. They're done with United, maybe Man City. No.
Man City is April 20th,
Okay.
Arsenal April 27th, Liverpool May 4.
Okay, all the ones I just named. They got to play them all still.
But so there you go. There in the end, 3 teams fighting to win the league.
Right.
That if they slip, that's where I think it's tough. They're very, very end.
But they could also play spoiler to any one of those 3 teams as well.
Right.
They have the quality on that side to do so. So
come on, Spurs, beat Man City at the very end and give the championship to Arsenal. God, that'd be amazing. Get behind that.
You'd have to have a new day named in the Arsenal kind of zeitgeist of if you play them and beat them, and that allows you to win the league, right? Like that has to be like you have St. Totteringham's Day.
Yeah,
you have to have a day that you would celebrate as Arsenal fans as a national holiday kind of thing.
Oh, if that actually happened, yeah. Oh man, London would go bananas. And conversely, if they snatched it away from them, man, that would be crazy. Oh, sorry. Ferris, you already went.
Yep.
That's good.
Ivan Toney scores again following his return, this time to cap a 2-0 win over Streaking Wolves. So a very good win for Brentford here as they've lost their past two. But sometime in the week, and I don't know the exact quote, but Thomas Frank alluded to Ivan Toney being sold in the summer, basically saying it was a foregone conclusion that it would happen. They're now kind of in a spat of words a little bit in the media. But if that is true, where do you got him going, Jones?
He's made it too clear he wants to go. I think you can't keep him. It becomes kind of rough behind the scenes.
I think that's where Thomas Frank is coming from too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Make some money on him. He's 28, be 29. So I mean, like, make some money. I don't know, man. I know the Arsenal thing gets linked up a whole lot. There are a lot of places that could use a striker that just scores.
I think he stays in London. I think either Chelsea or Arsenal can go in for him because Nick Jackson, love Nick Jackson, just for the name alone.
But you think he'll still like?
But you can bring in you can bring in Tony. So West London to West London here in a bit. Jesus hasn't necessarily solidified his spot in the Arsenal lineup, so they could be in for him for the summer as well. So I think either way, I think he stays somewhere in London.
I'm just scared it's a lot of money spent for a guy that when the season happens might not. I don't know, because the money is going to be astronomical. They were already
so if you were to bet right now on where he goes, I know it's kind of a choice words for Mr. Tony, but if you were to bet right now on where he goes, where would he go in your mind?
If he's 100 plus, I mean, the clubs that swing for that money wise are going to be your Man Cities, your Arsenals, your Chelsea, your Man United. I think Chelsea would. I do think there's a financial fair play situation with the players you guys have to offload, Ron. I don't know.
Yeah, we'd have to.
I don't know if you can do that. Also, Arsenal needs to add some depth. I don't know, man. Like,
out of those four teams you listed, two of them are in London. So my bet is he stays somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
Ron?
I think he goes to Arsenal and doesn't last long.
That's my fear.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is I think he would be good, but I feel like he's got too much of an ego, and he's too egocentric to fit into the kind of more team-oriented mentality that Arteta plays with.
You say that, but Trossard, they basically kicked him out of Brighton for some ego stuff that he was pulling and sold him on a cheap. And as of this date, there hasn't been any.
I mean, fair enough.
So
you might have sold me 20% on there, fair. So like 80-20.
Okay. All right.
And finally, Newcastle United make it 2 wins in 3 as they edge past Nottingham Forest on the day, courtesy of a Bruno Guimaraes goal-winning brace. Newcastle currently sit in 7th, 11 points off the top 4. Any chance they rally to make it to top 4? Blake says no. What do you guys say?
I say no as well. But they're getting people back a little bit fit here. I think Bruno's going to be gone, and I think he's going to be sold. I just don't think that Newcastle can hang on to him. So no, I don't think they can.
Ron?
Yeah, I guess I'm inclined to agree.
I'm not. I'll go it further.
I don't think they're going to make it.
I don't think they're going to be top 6. I think Aston Villa and Man United have a better overall team than they do. They're more consistent than Newcastle is. I don't know if they crack the top 6.
Fair enough.
You might just be looking at.
They're having some systemic issues. I think they're going to be right around where they are now. So
it's all right.
But they're still on schedule, right? So
yeah,
what they're doing is still good, right? Yeah. So
yeah, give them a couple more years. How long did it take Man City to become Man City after they spent and worked their way up? Boom. All right. We didn't cover any Deadpool news. I love how they announced a new Deadpool movie at the Super Bowl, and then it was Wrexham kept getting thrown out constantly. They must freaking love that.
That's pretty great.
But we don't have any Deadpool news, but Ron says he's got us some good beer news. So why don't you blow the whistle there, Ron? Oh, you don't have the whistle. I'm not. Dang it! I don't have the whistle either on my board. tweet. There you go. There's the whistle. How you like them analog? I'm what's the guy's name from Police Academy? Winslow.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Carl
Winslow. Yeah. I can't. Oh no, I don't know. I can't do all those sound effects. So now we're gonna take us to Ron's beer news. All the beer news that's fit to drink. Over to you, Ron.
The overwhelming beer news in the headlines is that role model Taylor Swift chugs a beer during the middle of the Super Bowl.
I wondered if you were going to have this.
And she just gives it.
Yeah.
Good for Tay-Tay. Screw the haters.
Love me some
Have a
Tay-Tay.
drink. Live your life.
Go on, Lassie.
All the bull around it. Good for you.
Go on.
I love
And
it.
with that,
What beer was it, Ron? Did you find out or did you see?
I did not find out.
I mean,
I'll see what investigation I can do.
Isn't it going to be Coors or I don't know what they are allowed to sell in there. All I know is this: she might be dating Travis, but I bet she was chugging the beers with Jason because Jason is definitely a beer chugger. You can just tell.
Well, she was there with Girl Squad, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Deadpool,
Spice,
she was there with his wife,
Blake Lively.
Yeah. I love that. Did you see that tweet or whatever? Or what was that in the commercial for Deadpool? Like, has anyone seen my wife? And
that was Ryan Reynolds' tweet.
Tweet afterwards.
Yeah. And then he copied or he forwarded one of her stories to his story and just wrote founder. And she was drinking a beer and then there was a picture in the field in the background.
Is there
I'm all for it. Good for Taylor Swift for going out and despite the media circus, despite all the people that, have their opinions, she's chasing a guy she likes and she was there to support him.
Did you see
that's great.
My favorite actually are the videos of they go to a club afterwards and his parents go and they look so awkward. Like it's awesome. I just love it.
And then the camera cuts to her and she's like, this is awkward.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wow, this like insanely successful people that are all sitting in this shot right now. This feels very relatable though. Right now.
Mm-hmm. A bit of controversy here. Are we sure it was a beer? Could it have been?
Could be White Claw.
Something else. Because I'm having a hard time seeing it. It was just on the Jumbotron. It's either that or it's like a Mick Ultra or something. Yeah. Every place is reporting beer, but it doesn't look like a beer in her glass. The picture that I'm looking at right now, it looks very much more translucent with a hint of, I don't even know if that's like.
Well, dude, that could easily be Michelob Ultra then. Like, let's just not.
It could be. So that's it. Ron, if you could find that out, that would
to
be
me
incredible.
It looked like a silver can.
Well, no, it's a cup. It's from what I can. It looks, it's a cup that she then slams down at the end of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
you're
Jumbotron.
right. It does have a silvery tint to it, but it looks like a clear cup, or maybe a silver tint, which is making the beer look that way. I don't know.
But I do love that she slams it down at the end.
Yeah.
All the cans that are on the ledge of that box are Bud Lights.
Did crack reporting from Ron.
We just CSI'd this. I want to look at the picture and go, enhance.
Crack reporting from Ron. Okay.
So, look, at the end, doesn't matter what it is, right? Good for her.
Oh, yeah.
Leave her alone. Let her live her life. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Now, if that was like a double IPA she just chugged, God bless her. We got to have her on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't give away the secret.
Just throw it out there as a complete random.
Can we get Jason Kelsey on too and her? Like,
right.
Travis, you're great, but I'd rather have your brother and your lady friend.
Can those two do a podcast opposed to Travis and Jason?
I would absolutely listen to that, dude. Are you kidding?
It'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I love him throughout all of this. Jason has become this like dude that everyone likes. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've seen this dude who's obviously a very successful basketball player, but like loving his brother's success. I mean, you see him painted like almost like a Japanese demon in the red and white with like, oh my God, just great.
And he's up there waving the flag, shirtless.
Just
good for him.
Just love it, man. Made my day. Made my day. It was not a bad time watching that game, actually.
Yeah. So one other piece of beer news, since that one was kind of short. Blake's old state of Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, a bill introduced to the Tennessee legislature could ban the sale of refrigerated cold beer.
What?
Throughout the entire state.
Not in Tennessee. That's blasphemy. No, come on.
I know, right? It was introduced on January 31st in the House and Senate. So far, it's passed on the first and second considerations in the Senate, which means it's been referred to the Senate, state, and local government committees to go on from there.
And just to, by the way, kill all the small businesses that have cans to go and stuff like that. So pro-business. That government.
Yep. And you'll be shocked to know that it was introduced by two Republicans, Representative Ron Grant and Senator Paul Rose. As introduced, it'll lower the threshold for enhancing as introduced, it will ban the sale of cold beers, but also what they snuck in there is that it lowers the threshold for enhancing the minimum sentence of a person convicted of driving under the influence of an intoxicant from a blood alcohol concentration of 0.20% to 0.15%.
Isn't that weird?
So does this mean
no cold beers? Sorry, no cold cans to go. Cold cans at bar you can still do, but not to go.
You'll get, if you're at a bar, you can drink a cold beer at the bar, but you cannot take it to go.
Right.
You cannot go to 7-Eleven and take a cold beer out of the refrigerator.
Which that's one thing for
like
the
a
convenience
6-pack
stores
or anything.
But
correct.
So you will force convenience stores to spend a ton of money on how they set stuff up, but also you kill these small breweries.
You kill a lot of breweries.
Yeah.
Wow. So
can I say couldn't have moved at a better time.
So if you're a Tennessean,
I'm
talking to just you. Hold on. I'm talking to you just now. If you're listening to this podcast, just reach on over to the volume a little bit, turn it up, because I'm talking just to you, person to person.
No one else.
Beer lover to beer lover. And hear me out on this. Just hear me out. You should fight this. Fight this, and you may lose. Don't fight this, and you'll have beer, but it'll be a warm beer. And sitting on your couch, watching the game many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance? Just one chance to come back here and tell your representatives that they may take our taxes, but they'll never take our cold beer.
Beer here! This message has been paid for. Ron for Office 2026.
I was with you, Ron.
All right, Ron. Well, it looks like you got to, you need to move. And you got to go run for state representative over in Tennessee.
Right now, you look like you could live in like the foothills of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're in.
His commercials got him with the flannel, got an axe on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm just a normal guy like you, and you know what I like? A cold beer. Hey, I had a busy week at work. I didn't have time to get some beer and put it in the fridge. The game starts in 30 minutes. Some good old American football. I can't even go down to my local store and get a cold beer for this game. It'll be halftime before it's drinkable. Vote for Ron. Vote for cold beer. Oh, my God. It writes itself.
Love it.
Yeah.
That was flipping brilliant. That might be one of the best beer news segments we've ever had.
Heck yeah. Tay-Tay and a speech from Braveheart in there.
Oh, man. Yeah. Hey, and Taylor, you live in Tennessee. Let's help us out.
Come on.
Yeah. Help us out, man. That really does make my blood boil for the amount of breweries and brewmasters I met just to Knox. Like, that sucks. Of all the things you have to worry about, we'll do the Brewtiful political podcast we'll launch later. But of all the things to worry about, that seems low on the list.
That seems very low on the list. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, oh man, I can tell Ferris is going to be singing it. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. The LeaguA's roundup. Whoosh.
Yo ho, it's the Bundesliga life for me. And what an absolute match we had on Saturday in the Bundesliga. Top of the table mash, not bash, but it was a bash because Bayern Leverkusen bashed Bayern Munich by 3-0. And it wasn't even that close, if I'm being honest. It could have been 5-6-0. Bayern Leverkusen, what a job they're doing under Xavi Alonso. Listen to this. 17 wins, 4 draws, 0 losses on the season. They have a plus 41 goal difference. They now go 5 points above Bayern in the table. They have not lost a game all season in any competition. And they just beat the leaders, the powerhouse of Bayern Munich, 3-0. That is incredible. Not incredible because they've been playing so good, but that is absolutely just they could go on to have a historic year if this trend continues for them.
Does this book into our earlier conversation where when talking about like the Spurs when Kane got pulled out and it opened the door up for other people to score and it changed, and then here Harry Kane goes to Bayern Leverkusen. And it's kind of funny because he was at Spurs
Munich.
Bayern Munich. He was at Spurs and they didn't have a trophy under him, and he went somewhere he knew he could get a trophy. Well, you're going to get one at Bayern. They win every year, and then this is happening right now.
Yeah, it's not on a very good. You might be right again.
Fault by any stretch of the means, but like
It could. It absolutely could. Because as I said moments ago, they're 5 points behind Bayern now. Both played the same number of games. However, they are 7 points above Stuttgart, having themselves a great year, who are in third. And then Borussia Dortmund are in fourth on 40 points. That's your top four. But right now, it's all Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich. And if Bayer Leverkusen slip up, this could go down just like it did last season, right? When Dortmund held the lead all the way there till the end in the very last match, and then Bayern came in. So that could happen. So, but Bayern Leverkusen, now the pressure is really on because you beat them. Now you got to see out the season.
But Ferris told me if you beat the champs, you are the champs.
Exactly. And in this, exactly. In this case, I believe the first game they drew. They drew 0-0. So they're definitely setting themselves up for success, and so much so that I just poured myself another beer.
And they've got Bayern play Lazio tomorrow, right, in Champions League.
I believe you're correct. Yep.
So he can still try to get a trophy in the Champions League.
He could, but man, wouldn't that be something if at the end of the season he wins nothing? That would be.
Yeah, right.
And over to Spain. Yo ho, it's the Liga life for me. In Spain, there was another big match, top of the table. Real Madrid against Girona? My Girona. Girona have been sitting up there all season. Sneaky, just a fantastic season they're having. You might start to see them fade away because Real Madrid walked in and said, we are the captains now. And they have been for a while, but they smoke showed them 4-0. A Jude Bellingham brace in this, Rodrigo goal, Vicinius goal from top to bottom, just all Madrid all the time. Just absolutely showed them what it was like to be at the top of the table. Unfortunately here, you didn't see Jude Bellingham in today's 1-0 win in the Champions League over RB Leipzig because he picked up a knock. He'll be out for a few weeks. Doesn't seem to be too concerning or too long, but yeah, he is out for a bit. But Real Madrid now have a 5-point lead over Girona, who are in second, and a 10-point lead over Barcelona, who are in third, because Barcelona drew 3-3 on the weekend. So a chance for Girona, a chance for them to catch up to Girona a bit as Girona loses points, and they can't beat Granada as they tied 3-3 and had to even score late to even make it 3-3. So that's your top three. Your fourth team is Atletico Madrid, who's sitting fourth, and Athletic Club sitting fifth, which I believe Athletic Club I believe Atletico Madrid just beat them last week. Unfortunately, Atletico Madrid turned around this week and lost to Sevilla 1-0, but Athletic Club did only draw there, so no real points lost or gained for this week. But that's your top 5 teams in La Liga. Yo ho, yo ho. It's the U.S. soccer life for me.
Bum, 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 bum.
And that, unfortunately, is probably how U.S. men's national team striker Daryl Dike felt as on the weekend he left the field in tears as he ruptured his other Achilles tendon, this time the opposite one to which he just came back for being off for as long as he did. Just absolute
2 Achilles in 2 seasons.
Just absolutely heartbreaking for him. His teammates look just inconsolable as well at times. I mean, kid's only 23 years old, but just absolute heartbreak. He's just a big lad that can't stay fit. And will West Brom kind of move on from him at the end of the season? You can't blame them if they do, because right now they can't rely on him. But just absolute heartbreak for him. He came out with a post just saying he can't even wrap his head around this and how and why, and I can't even imagine the mental side of things of now suffering this other just season-ending type injury. Is just absolutely heartbreaking for the lad.
He's only played 52 total minutes this season.
And that probably doubles what he played last season, or I was about to say the same. It's just not good.
So, on a tangent to this, or not a tangent, but like adjacent to this, I recommend you guys listening to an episode of Arsblog. Obviously, it's going to be a little Arsenal tinted, but they just did one that they interviewed. I was looking for it to tell you guys. Dr. Andrew Mitchell, the Associate Dean in Education and Sports at the University of Bedfordshire. And it was all about the most recent injuries, most frequent hamstrings, the risk of reoccurrence, and especially he talks about in cases where certain athletes come back too soon, and where the fine line is. It's actually it's a really good interview. If you're not an Arsenal fan, it's a good one to listen to, in the sense that it's more about that in the sport itself. Highly recommend it. I forget which episode it is, but it's episode 770. There you go. The one about injuries is the title, on the Arscast. But definitely a good one to listen to. And I wonder if this, a little bit what that guy was talking about plays into this at all. Like an Achilles rupture can be career ending, but you can come back from it. It's a very long and hard process. To do another one, man, it's rough. I don't.
You know what he should do? Because he just came back from one, but maybe he needs to contact good old Aaron Rodgers. Find out what he was doing during the season. Everybody thought he was going to come back before the end of the season for whatever special specific surgery that he did. Because at this point, why not give that a try or anything else? Because it's just terrible. And had he stayed fit, who knows? He could have made the Olympic squad.
Yeah.
And really geared up for 2 years from now when the World Cup's here in the States, but it's looking dim right now for him.
Even in the shorter term, the Gold Cup.
Exactly.
this summer, right? Like there's a lot of U.S. men's national team tournaments from, this summer all the way to the World Cup. And it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be tough for players who are not injured, right? From a overworked standpoint with all these different tournaments and their club seasons, right? So this is going to be a tough venture moving forward for him for certain.
On a more positive note, though, yo ho, it's the Ivory Coast life for me, as they are the African Cup of Nations champions. And what a ride this has been just for the entire team. I mean, their group stage was pretty much shite. It was bad. They even sacked a manager during that time. And then they go on to win this tournament. They are the champions of Africa. How they got there in pens, at the quarters, a 2-1 win over Mali and the or that would have been the quarters, and then a 1-0 win over Congo in the semis. 2-1 on the day against Nigeria, who went in as favorites. But it was a 81st minute header by Sebastian Haller that sealed it. And listen to this. If you aren't really knowing who that is, used to play at West Ham several seasons back, had then signed for Borussia Dortmund last season. Pretty much as soon as he got there, diagnosed with testicular cancer. Out that entire season, multiple rounds of chemo, the whole nine. Comes back to score, or has come back to play this season, cleared to play this season. Hasn't really featured a whole lot for Dortmund, but then goes on to be the champion of Africa with his Ivory Coast team as he nets the winner in this. What a story, what a comeback story. And through all of it, from sacking their coach to this, to all of this just kind of drama around the team, they go on to be the champions of Africa. Well done, Cote d'Ivoire. Has I said that? How do you say that?
Sounded good to me. Right? Apologies. We're terrible at this.
And then real quick note, we haven't really talked about it much on the pod, but Qatar, we may remember them from the World Cup. They had a couple of good wins. They hosted it, yada, yada, yada. Well, they are the Asian Cup champs, which is significant because I believe they were the ones, I don't know if they played them, but usually teams like Iran, South Korea, have won in the years past, but Qatar won, I think, last in 2019 or somewhere in that range. So they are the champs, as they beat Jordan 3-1 in a very, very weird game. They won on just all pens.
Yeah,
that all three of their goals, pens. Like, just weird. I don't know if that really doesn't happen a lot. You don't really see a whole lot of that, but just odd. A 22nd minute pen, a 73rd minute pen, and a 95th minute pen. A hat trick of pens by Alfie. Wild. Qatar, Ivory Coast, champions of their regions. Congratulations. And that is your LeaguA's roundup.
I almost did an eagle cry. I don't know why, but that was almost what I did before I remembered it was a whip crack. All right, ladies and jelly spoons, I think that wraps us up. Our beer mentions of the pod. I had the Green Lady Pale Ale from Evening Sky Brewery in Burlington, Connecticut, just down the road.
I had the Airpocalypse, the West Coast Double IPA from Jing A Brewing here in Beijing.
And down in the Caribbean, I had a Sunshine State Florida Lager, which I'm on my second now, because it is a pretty darn good beer.
Yeah, same for mine, dude. I think I'm going to get a second as soon as I'm done with this episode.
And that was Carib Brewery. I don't know if I said that or not, but yeah.
Ferris, you got us a Latan quote for us?
Oh, sure.
I was very confident. I'll tell you what, while you're putting that together, I'll say this. Follow us, check us out on the website, The Brewtiful Game. Follow us on all the socials. Gosh, Twitter used to be so fun. It's not as much anymore, but if you chat with us, I promise I'll chat back. Obviously Untapped is a good one to follow all the different beers and stuff we're doing, especially when Ron is bebopping around the world. If you like the pod, tell your friends and family, leave a review. And let us know about it, and we'll make sure we get something fun out to you. And again, don't forget, we're trying to increase our quotient of grandmas that listen to the pod. It's an untapped niche market that we're after. Grandmas love the Brewtiful Game. Don't forget. And my grandma's birthday is next week, 88. Speaking of.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
All right, Ferris, did you find a quote?
Only God knows. You're talking to him now. I don't know in what context he said that, but any context.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Great quote.
He could have been in a McDonald's.
Right.
Anywhere.
A 7-Eleven in Tennessee trying to get beer out of the fridge.
Trying to get cold beer before that all the oh my God.
When he was playing Nashville down there, he who knows?
If
that could have come from anywhere.
If I was working for a media group that would do like hired to be political ads, I would be pitching one right now where you film this old timey like prohibition thing where like they're going in to bust up like Al Capone's like friggin' but it's like just taking out refrigerators or something stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Carrie Nation with her axe, like, smashing refrigerators.
People go to open like sliding door, like fake doors, and it just opens to a normal fridge. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll get you a ham sandwich.
The SWAT team. It's the SWAT team going in, right? They have a warrant for your cold beer.
Oh, what a friggin' joke. Oh my God. Oh jeez, so bad. Speaking of bad, I was trying to get ready this morning, accidentally sprayed body spray in my mouth, gents. Ugh. The whole day I spoke with an accent. An accent?
All right, I'm asking this is a serious question here. Has anybody on this pod used Axe body spray at any point in their life?
No, I think my age kind of like I missed when I probably would have. Like I'm sure if I had been in college when it was at its peak or something, I would have, but I think I missed that.
I tried it one time. Like I bought the Axe body spray. I bought it one time. I used it one time, and I gave myself a headache. And within 10 minutes of it being on, I had to go shower.
I can confidently say I never have used it.
The thing that's crazy is the amount of people that have never used it but can know it intimately.
Oh yeah,
when they smell it.
Oh yeah.
It's just like whoa.
Go to any college, high school, especially after like into a locker room, sports room. At the end, right? Yeah, that is the shower of choice for most high school athletes.
Yep. So
and it feels like the people that use it bathe in it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I don't think it takes much.
Absolutely, just soak themselves in it, right? Then
they get like immunity to it, and they don't smell it anymore. Yeah. It's like you don't smell your dog in your house, right? or whatever.
Right.
Like, and that's what it is. You don't smell the Axe spray. I knew this was going to start a conversation. When I put it down, I knew it was going to start a conversation. All right, gents, that was a blast. Ron, it's nice having you back on, dude. When do you come back?
Cheers. I leave in 2 days.
Oh, all right.
Cool.
All
so
right.
I'll be back on the weekend.
Sweet. All right, man. We'll travel safe.
Safe travels, man.
Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.